Hello everyone, welcome. Today I want to talk about meditation in a little different way than I usually do. I want to talk about maintaining the meditative state. We've talked a lot about how to meditate. I have a free meditation. It's only 7 minutes long. It's beautiful. It teaches you how to become still and to stand back from thought. That's where you're lost now in thought. Worries, doubts, fears. Thinking about the past, what he said and what she said, or worrying about the future, or planning and scheming to get out of the mess that you got yourself into last time because you weren't aware, because you were lost in your thoughts, or people got you lost in your thoughts. They talk to you about the promise of education, or of this or of that, or they promised this result or that benefit, or so you were always dreaming of something based upon people's ideas and their thoughts and what they told you. If you could get back in touch with your intuition from God, it's wordless. It's silent. It's a knowing. By this intuition you know. And you just sense which way to go, whether to turn right or whether to turn left, whether to say yes or whether to say no. You just sense it intuitively. You don't have to run everything through your intellect. Let me just put it to you this way. The more you get lost in the world, the more you get lost in your intellect and imagination. Because the more you get lost in the world, pulled out into the world, getting lost in work, in relationships, in upsets, in problems, in worries, in things you're striving for, in your stuff, all your stuff. The more you get lost out there in the ball game, who's going to win the ball game? That's, the more you get lost and get lost in other people's problems, taking other people's burdens upon yourself, the more you get lost, and then in all your health issues and your doctor visits and your pills and everything else, the more you get lost out there, the more you get lost in also at the same time in your thoughts and your imagination. Why is that? Because we're not supposed to be lost out in the world. And when you're lost out in the world, you can sense that there's something wrong, and you don't want to know what it is. You don't want to you don't want to know the truth about how lost you are, and how helpless you are, and how you're not living your own life. So you find an alternative reality. You make one up in your mind, or one is made up for you. But the problem with that is those thoughts that come to you that cater to your ego, that cater to this life apart from God, this life being lost in the world like Alice in Wonderland. Those thoughts mislead you even further. So the answer is just to stand back from them. That's it. Just learn how to stand back from them and follow them no more. Just let them parade by. The meditation helps with that. And then, when you're not lost in your thoughts, then you'll make fewer mistakes, because you'll have awareness. Not only that, but your awareness has a nice effect on your being. So, now we've talked about the meditation, but how do you maintain it? Well, maintaining the meditation has a lot to do with always wanting to know what is right in the moment. Not what makes you look good. Not what is some advantage for you, some seeming advantage for you. Not some little chance to get even with someone or to do to another person what was done to you, but simply to see what is right and do what is right. And not knowing what is right. See, for any particular moment that comes along, I don't know what's right. I don't even know what the next thing I'm going to say is. I don't know what the next thing I'm going to do is. But when the moment arrives, then I somehow want to stay in touch. There it is. I want to stay in touch with my intuition so that I can see and know and do what's right. Or to put it another way, not do the wrong thing. A lot of times doing the right thing is just not doing the wrong thing. Not saying the wrong thing, not going with the wrong people, not buying something that you don't need. See? Who was it? Was it Pascal that said that all of our troubles come from just not being able to sit in our room quietly? So, how do you maintain this meditative state? Well, like I just said, and you meditate when it comes to you a little bit. When you're sitting in the car, let's say you pulled into the parking lot. You turn the car off and you're sitting there for just a moment. The car is nice and warm or nice and cool, depending on what's going on outside. And you're about ready to get out of the car and go into the office or go into the store, wherever you're going. And you're in a nice, peaceful spot there. Wouldn't that be a nice time to just take a moment or two to get centered, to close your eyes and become aware of your hands and become aware of the little particles of light on the inside of your eyelids? Just look at them. Look at the little particles. Be aware of your hands. In just a few seconds, you can get centered. And then something of that centering then goes with you out into the world. You see? Now, the other thing you can do to stay centered is to, when you think of it, when it comes to you, to be aware of your hands. As I'm sitting here now, I'm aware of my hands. And they will start to tingle a little bit. A little bit of a gentle tingly feeling. Or when you're walking alone. Let's say you're out for a nice walk in the morning. As you're walking, then it comes to you to be aware of your hands as you're walking. You just notice them. You feel them tingle a little bit, you see? Somehow, that helps sustain the meditative state. It enhances, or it, what's the word I want? Facilitates, or somehow helps to remind you of what you know in your heart. See? I don't know how it works, but all I know is that it works. Now, another thing. Let's say that there's a situation with your child or with your partner, the kind of situation where, let's say it's your partner or someone who's difficult. You know how some people are difficult. Maybe your partner is difficult, or someone at work. Someone's difficult. Your parent is difficult. And there they are, and they're presenting some difficulty, some confusion, some pressure, some insinuation, something, sometimes it's hard to see or you don't even know what they're up to. You know they're up to something. So, and they're presenting something that's a pressure. Or in the past would have been a pressure. Now, while you're in that moment, become aware of your hands. Just notice your hands, feel them warm. And you'll notice that that distances you a little bit from them. You still hear what they're saying, but it doesn't penetrate. It's like somehow putting up a force field around you. I don't know how to explain it, but you feel cozy, safe. And then you deal with the situation, whatever is needed. Sometimes nothing has to be said. Sometimes there's nothing to do, nothing to say. Other times a word or something. But it doesn't penetrate. And somehow you remain close to that inner, the light within, the good within, the fount within. So being aware of your hands when it comes to you. Now in the moment you may forget to be aware of your hands. You may still be in somewhat of a meditative state. And if you are practicing the meditation, you will be, even if you don't know that you are, somewhat pulled back. And once in a while, something pulls you in, and then you notice that you were pulled in. Something makes you notice, and then you pull back. But all I'm saying is that during the day, if you can think of it for even a few seconds, to be aware of your hands here and there, maybe more, maybe less, but to the extent that you can, it's very helpful to maintain the meditative state. So I hope this video will be of some help to you. How do you like my new backdrop? Isn't it nice? I like it. There's several things I like about it. First of all, I just like cities at night, seeing them, seeing the lights in the distance. And it's also helpful because being dark, the background, it permits me to make this video without having to have bright light shining on me. If I just have the wall behind me, then I have to have some kind of light shining on me from the front. And in the summertime, that's easy. I open the window and the sunlight comes in. But then when it gets to be winter, it's more difficult. So I think this will be helpful. I think this will be helpful. So go out in the world. Remain in touch with what you know in your heart. Meditate a little bit here and there. And when it comes to you, be aware of your hands, so they become, so you get a little tingly feeling, a little life feeling in them.